I've ridden in a lot of Ubers and a lot of Lyfts. They actually take the place of a car payment for me. And, for the most part, most of the drivers are pretty courteous. They get you from point A to point B with little difficulty. And it's a very convenient way to travel. If I lose my job, I don't have to worry about my car being impounded. If I go on vacation from my job for 2 weeks and I don't go anywhere, I don't have 2 weeks worth of car payment. And it roughly comes out to about the same thing, if not less, than what a driver, a car owner, pays for their vehicle. Now, despite having all of its perks and conveniences, there is something with Uber and with Lyft that has bothered me greatly. And it has been with some of the drivers and the choice of music that they play for the, and I'm assuming, I guess I could assume that they play this, their choice of music for the people in the car. It doesn't really, matter what their background is. It'd be very easy to assume that. But there's a part of me that paranoid conspiracy part of me that wonders. When I get into the car with an African-American driver of a certain age, between 20-something, maybe 30, they tend to play things that I find completely offensive. Without, and never once do they ask me, is there anything on the radio that you'd like to hear? And one of the drivers in particular, it's not the first time that this has happened. One of the drivers was playing a song that every 3 words, the N-word was hurled. And somehow, it seemed this driver believed that we had a kinsmanship because we were both black. There wasn't even the question as to what I might find offensive, because it was already understood that I had an understanding of the N-word, and I fully embraced the N-word when it was coming from another black person. And this happened to me several times. They're jamming out to, the latest song by Little Whoever, all while I sit there disgusted. One time, I actually requested that my driver turn the station, and my driver at this time was a young African-American woman, and she kind of looked at me like, well, what's wrong with you? Even though she's providing the service for me. I was supposed to be the customer to be made comfortable. Yet I felt uncomfortable asking her to turn off this music that embraced the N-word, something that I'm against. As a young man, you say things, if you look back in my past, if you look far enough, I will have said some inappropriate things, may have even said the N-word several times. Because it's part of African-American culture, it's ingrained. I vowed to myself that I wouldn't use it, and that it would become what it should have become a long time ago, a word that we need to forget. If we're going to call, African-Americans are going to call each other something, let it be a name that wasn't flipped to have a positive connotation to it. Just pick a new word. The problem that I'm having is in African America, there's sometimes a sense of monolithic thought. And it bleeds over into being a monolithic entitlement. Whereas if you don't subscribe to the collective idea of something, you're an outsider. The woman in the car, young woman in the car that was playing the explicit music, viewed me as an outsider. And initially she had the assumption that I was perfectly okay with it. Some white drivers do the same thing. They immediately go to the blackest station they could find. And I take great pride in saying, you know, I'm more of a Mozart man, more of a progressive rock man. And they look at me puzzled. Black people, a lot of them perpetuate monolithism, if that's even a word. And whites trying to acquiesce and do the right thing. They put their foot in their mouths and in their being by trying to find something black to tide me over as we drive. It's really sad that parts of our society are so handcuffed that we can't entertain the possibility that people might be diverse in what they like in life. There is more than one kind of black person, contrary to popular belief. White people do not have to acquiesce to everything, every single demand that a black person makes. And my demand in an Uber is that you don't play music with that fucking word and simply assume that offensive language is okay just because we look alike. I'd like to know what everybody else thinks about my Uber experiences. And feel free to smash that like button and punch that subscribe button. I look forward to hearing your input. Thanks a lot, and take care.